Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is the 14th day of June. It is 2026 on the ancient moon calendar, and that's in Roman numerals. It is 2027 on the ancient sun calendar. It's 10,067 on the ancient Europa calendar. It's 5786 on the ancient Israelite, Hebrew Israelite calendar, and it's millions and millions and trillions of years on the ancient Moorish calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in alignment and according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the divine sovereign living justices and Eggleston Pauline Ritchie, sovereign living justice, and my chosen sovereign appellation is like tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminution nolo in red ink, in proprio personas juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris lex and capit et corpus juris legalis. That is our statement that we are the one and only lawful and legal natural living head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Shemites, Israelites, Cushites, Tartarians, Hittites, and all other original people. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Moroccan empire. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate, and we are the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. We are the law by our sovereign status. We are the original indigenous natural divine sovereign ancient Article 3 living United States District for Columbia Court. We are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. And we govern our system, and our system is the trustee. We are peace, we are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We hereby recognize ourselves and we accept our sovereign divine ascension. We, the true living God nation, are peace, peace, peace. We are the mother nation, and we are all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, not proton. With that being stated, so our first presentment is about so this is a testament that I'm stating here right now. But I will go back to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali as I present this testament about the work that we've been doing, the work that this Congress has been doing. I will to show you a manifestation of what we have stated previously. So these are some photos of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali with, with the banner, with the stars on the right, the way that it's supposed to be. Okay. So we will to state, to give this testament by starting with showing how the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he has, this is two photos of him. He has the banner here, and the banner is next to our, well, I don't, I'm looking at the star is upside down on this photo, and I don't believe that that's an accident, because whenever a flag is upside down, it means distress. It means that that nation is in distress. So, but the stars are to the right here. So this Congress began looking at that because we didn't will to be under a banner of amity and commerce done by foreigners. We will to present our own banner for amity and commerce. And so we began looking at this. We weren't going to throw out the baby with the bathwater and just chunk the whole thing out and not look at it. And so here, these are some more students, and right here at the top in the middle is the same banner with the stars to the right. And this Congress began looking at that, and seeing the banner displayed caused us to search for more information. We found that the stars lead the way, and this indicates that the Union field with the 50 stars is always in the highest position of honor, which is to the right. Did you know that the highest position of honor is to the right? And so we began looking at that, and we said, okay, let's look around the territory and put some laws on the books so that the people can get some relief. The people must have relief. And so we began looking at public works operations and things of that nature. And on February the 5th of 2023, put some documentation on the public record, and after that time we began sending out more documentation about national public works and how the public must have relief from being taxed all the time. So the ancestors began to show us, because we have a heart for the people. We love the people because they're here because of us. And so we began to state that the people don't need to be taxed every time they turn around. They shouldn't be taxed at all, really, not by foreigners. And so we put some things on the public record, and then we began to look around and say, okay, we're going to look for this banner. And we began to see our banner where the stars are to the right in the position of honor. And so this Congress began to put the laws on the public record about how the people are not to be taxed. We put the law on the record, and we kept moving with the things that we have to do as the Congress, as the government, and as the people. And we said eventually, and it wasn't an overnight process. It was not overnight process. This is a city, quote unquote, a city bus here. This is a Federal Way city bus here that has the banner here. And Federal Way is at our territory here. The results of what we've done is this. We stated that we gave the command that those boxes where people were supposed to put fiat in the boxes, we said those boxes are going to be shut down, and then eventually they're going to have to pull them out of the pull them off the buses, because the people are not to be taxed for public transportation. It's public. That means all the people have already done everything they need to do, and they don't need to be taxed for that. The people are supposed to be able to get all around wherever they will to get all around on the land, especially when they're doing things that are assisting. They're working for the corporations or companies. They're cleaning up the roads. They're helping to build the roads. They're putting the buses together. They're driving the buses. This is still the people. And so we said the people must have relief, because I used to go sit on those buses. And that was not a necessity. It was something that I did because I knew that the people needed to have some relief because they were looking so tired and broke. And that's not our estate. That's not how we run things. And so this most recent week, this most recent 7-day cycle, I elected to get on the bus again. And as you all know, I don't keep fiat on me. So I got on and I sat down, and the ancestor said, look at that. When Donald Trump was talking about tariffs in his enactment, this is what he was talking about. He was speaking in an upside down manner, but this is what he's talking about. And so here at Federal Way territory, and this should be at all territories, that this sign should be stopping people from putting fiat in those boxes, because it's not like it's putting gas in the buses. It's not. It's not paying salaries. It's not. So this is a testament to the work that this Congress has done. We're the ones who make things like this happen. When we speak, we make it the law, and then we lien, levy, and bond those resources. Lien, levy, and bond, and then keep on moving, because they're going to eventually they're going to submit. And they actually submit the day that we send the things. The day that we speak the word, they submit. It's a system. It's a large system. So it takes time for this to happen. Now, the bus that this was on is a King County bus. It wasn't a city bus. It was a King County bus, which is the one that I take. It's a Fifth Amendment taking. So this is one of the ones where, during COVID, quote unquote, we were getting on and just, I would just look out the window, and they would be like, "Oh, you're not gonna pay? Are you not gonna pay?" And they didn't hold everybody up. They would go anyway. But all that time in my mind, I would be doing a court action and getting where I was going. So we had to stand no matter what. It's the law that we put on the public record. So we must stand and enforce that law. And here's the thing. This was not an overnight process. We did so many things after we put that law on the record. We put so many other laws and liens and levies and bonds in place. We just said, we're going to make this the law, and we're going to keep moving. We didn't have to keep going back and looking. We didn't have to do that. All we had to do was put the law on the record and still keep moving forward, keep speaking to the resources, because they are ours. But this is the same bus where I gave a testament about 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I gave a testament to the Congress where one of the drivers, quote unquote, the subject in the office of driver, she asked for the fare, the fiat fare. I got on the bus, I sat down. She asked for the fare, and she was a modern one, one of the modern ones. She asked for the fare, and I told her, I said that a fare is not due according to the Constitution. And she said, no, you have to pay. Everybody has to pay. How do you think we get paid if you don't pay? So I got off the bus and I told her, come here and look at this. And she looked at it, and it was the flag. It was our banner. And the stars were to the right. I said, whenever you see this flag displayed this way, that it's a constitutionally, it's a public taking. It's a Fifth Amendment taking. You don't, you must study the Constitution, and then you have to speak to those that are over your head, because in reality, the people are your boss. And I explained that to her, and then I got back on and I sat down. So when she got to the bus station, she wasn't gonna, she was saying she wasn't gonna take me anywhere else until she talked to her boss. So she called her boss, and I said, okay, I'll wait right here. And I explained to them that that flag with the stars to the right is a public, that means this is public transportation, that the fare has already been prepaid for the people. And she was very upset when her manager, quote unquote, agreed with me. So she had to take all of us, anybody who was going, they could. And then she started telling people, don't put nothing in there, don't put nothing in there, because she was trying to say, if she's not gonna pay, then the rest of y'all don't have to pay either, And she was upset about it. I get that, but I wasn't gonna argue with her. I just stated the law, and now this is what happens with those particular buses. So it took, well, I don't know when they put these up, so I don't know exactly how long it took between the time that that we put the law on the record and the time that this showed up. But I do know that um, that the system has recognized the truth of the matter. I didn't have to argue with them. Every time I got on there, I never paid. I never paid. I never paid. And before I got on there, though, and I can't say I never paid. It's prepaid. Prepayment is prepayment. So I can't say I got on and didn't pay. I did pay. I just didn't pay that way. The payment was done on paper beforehand. So thanks to this Congress, if I could have taken photos of the people who get on these buses and how downtrodden they look like they're just tired. And to me, if that's not what this estate is about, our estate is about everyone being, at least being comfortable. Not everybody has the same status that we have by their own choosing, some of them, and some of them by their bloodline, but it doesn't mean that they can't be comfortable on our land. And so, many, many, many thanks to this Congress, because you have lightened the load for the people, for the public. That's what a republic is all about, is that we make it so that everyone who comes here is comfortable. At least they can get things done. They can go back and forth to work. They can get where they're going. If they're going to see their loved ones, they can do that and not be bled dry, basically, you know. And so Islam, no business.
How long ago was this?
I took these photos about 8 days ago, 7 or 8 days ago.
Uh-huh.
But these signs might have been up here. They could have been up here months ago.
No, I was referring to when did you got on the bus?
Oh, it's been about 8 days ago, 8 or 9 days ago.
Oh, so this is recently. Okay.
This is recently, yes, recently.
Okay, Empress.
The ancestors always make it so that we see the results of our work. Whether we just say, you know what, instead of, being driven around, I'm going to take the bus today and see what's going on. And again, I never bring any fiat or anything like that. And I just get on and I sit down. And then I weigh the energy. I look at the people who are getting on. And what I do see is that the subjects, especially those who work a 9 to 5, some of them, their jobs will issue a bus pass to them. So they'll have little cards from their job that they can just scan and get on. However, the scanners have been breaking down. So they can't even, the record keeping is messed up on that other end. When the scanner is messed up, there's no proper record keeping. This bus had a scanner too, but it wasn't working. So yeah, we took these photos about 8 days ago when we were on the bus, and then we looked back at when was it that we gave the information or gave the notice for all of that, the National Public Works to begin, and that was February of 2023. So thank you, Congress, for your assistance and in assisting the people. Thank you for your confidence in our own ability. All of us, we have the ability to affect change everywhere at all of our territories. We just had to know that we have it, and we do know that. With that being stated, our next topic is what we stated we were going to speak about at the beginning of Congress, before the recording started, about the debt. So those who were acting, there was no way that they could just randomly come up with debt and things like that. They had a process too that they had to go through. And because we were going into the sleep period, there was no one to properly rebut what they were doing, and so they used a quote unquote system to make debt notes and all of that manifest. Does anyone know what they used or where did the debt come from? They had to meet, they had to agree on it. That's the only way that the debt could have manifested, and then there had to be no proper rebuttal from the original people. Does anyone know where the debt came from? What documents they used to manifest that debt, quote unquote, in their enactment? Islam.
I was just going to say capitalism, but now you mentioned what document, and wouldn't it have been one of the papal bulls?
SESTA KV is one of those documents, and Doctrine of Discovery is another one. But there's a third document, Port Manifest or Port. That one might have assisted. Think about it more. Islam.
Yes, I believe that the debt started after the Civil War, when the colonizers, not even the females, it was the males who wasn't able to keep up with the stock, which was the cattle, the people. So they handed it over to Congress, and it became what's called the human trafficking.
But there's a document.
Human trafficking started then. That's like the first time we know about it.
So what I'm asking is, you said they handed it over to quote unquote Congress, which that wasn't the real Congress. But what did they do in order to make it so that everybody would just be like, oh, the debt, you know?
We became debtors from then.
Say again?
we was listed as debtors from then. We were supposed to be freed. Instead of getting the 40 acres and a mule, we was given, we was made debtors. We went to 14th Amendment, we became debtors and all that.
In the enactment,
And
just
then,
to catch on your language, you're going to have to put the language the correct way, because we were never debtors. That it was an enactment, but we get what you're stating. We get what you're saying. Islam. Empress Shasha. Mahdi Shasha.
Thank you, Mahdi. Light. The Organic Act of Congress and you know, all of that in the enactment, which created the fake democracy platform, which was the vehicle for the fraudulent setup. When they met and took the allodial titles and turned them into mortgages and debts, or are we talking, you know, before that? Mm-hmm. But it began with the or at least this is what I'm thinking, with the whole the Organic Act of Congress to create the fraudulent platform. Or that, at least that's what I'm thinking. And then, of course, with turning all the mortgages into turning the allodial titles of the people into mortgages and debt instruments and those sorts of things. And prior to that, though, they were already in debt in the enactment to the empire. And that's, I mean, when I'm thinking, because when we speak of before the United States,
mm-hmm.
Right, so it has to be before the United States when the debt, but the debt was theirs. It was never
Right.
debt. But then they had to create some platform with which to move things around and shift things around.
Right. So that's what we're talking about, Empress Mahdi Shasha, is what was the initial kickoff that told them that they could create that debt and that we would just go to sleep and be okay with the debt.
So wouldn't that have had something to do with 1861 when Congress was adjourned, sine die, and left the vacuum because, and then Abraham Lincoln did what he did, and then they removed him because he saw what they were attempting to do. But then when the vacuum, we actually went to sleep, as you state, and because we are the government. So when there was an adjournment, sine die, we all went to sleep, and so there was this huge hole, and they in and took over.
Yes, and that's where the debt came from.
The Treaty of Amnesty and Commerce?
Not that one, because the treaty had already been signed, and they're not party to the treaty.
So,
But Empress Shasha, Mahdi Shasha was right on it. After 1861, when we said, hey, let's let the actors take over for a little while, there was a vacuum, there was a big space left. And that space had to be filled with something. And we elected not to fill it, but to let the actors do some things. So where did the U.S. debt come from? On July 9th, 1868, in the enactment, the 14th Amendment was adopted and ratified, and I'm putting that in air quotes because we know it was an act. They filled the vacuum with the 14th Amendment. Now, that was 1868. And then guess what happened in 1871?
That was the Organic Act of Congress.
So the U.S. debt came about with the 14th Amendment. And that is why the 14th Amendment is such a linchpin in the enactment. And so let's look at that. The U.S. corporate debt enactment came from the 14th Amendment, adopted into the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, quote unquote, July 9th, 1868. So let's define adopted, and we're only going to read the first sentence, but I'll let you see the rest of it. Adoption, the taking and receiving as one's own that to which he bore no prior relationship or no prior relation, colorable or otherwise. That means you take something that has absolutely nothing to do with you, and you read, it's an act, you make it an act, and you adopt it. It's not that it's real, it's adopted. And we're not saying that people who are adopted aren't real. We're not talking about people right now, we're talking about acts and action. The act of one who takes another's child into his own family, treating him as his own and giving him all the rights and duties of his own child. Well, if the rights and duties are debt and death, who wants that? That's called the fall of man. It says in Islamic.
You know, this is an enactment, of course, we realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Take it in the heading, it says the U.S. Constitution.
Yes.
So, and if that U.S. Constitution was the fraud, so when was that enacted then? Because in my mind, it was not till 1871 that came into being. Of course, I know they work on things before it's made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
you know,
in order for 1871 to happen, 1861 had to happen in the enactment.
Right, and I recognize that. So this happening, so when after 1861, so the U.S. Constitution was created between the 1861 coup d'etat and the 1871 Organic Act of Congress. So that piece.
That's when they said, let's look at what the Moors wrote and let's rewrite it.
Exactly. So it says adopted, underlined, into the U.S. But at this point, this was not the organic constitution. This was already the fraud. This was already
the fraud, and all they did was say, we're adding more fraud to this thing that we fraudulently made.
Exactly, and because of the semantic similarity and to sleep, so that's really how it slithered and slid its way into being.
Yes. Islam. And this is why the enactment of the actor made his remarks on the 1789 Constitution being the Constitution that he wills to enforce.
Yes.
The actor in the White House. The 1789, which predates the 1869 nonsense. And my goodness. And then this is why the back and forth on the 14th Amendment in the enactment, and why many are saying abolish, get rid of, abort, terminate the 14th Amendment. And then you have the unconscious Moors, who are some arguing for the to remain the 14th Amendment, saying, "Oh, they get rid of it. Don't you understand? We're going to have no rights and da 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 da, and what the 14th Amendment did for us as a people and da da da, all the nonsense." Anyway, but yeah,
they were only debtors.
Mhm.
So when they start speaking of the sweet terms of adopting a child and treating him as his own and giving him all the rights and duties of his own child, that sounds sweet and cute until the reality of the debt is made known. All they're saying is the all caps. They're saying we're going to give you an all caps just like we have an all caps. That's what they were saying.
Right. So what I'm thinking now is, now that it's because from where you mentioned that there's going to be some announcement this strong, I can foresee that it's going to be somewhere along the lines of what we're stating today, as far as the abolishment of the 14th Amendment and the getting rid of all debt and adoptions, because we had mentioned this before about when we were talking about the matriarchs and our heirs and how we are the only ones who can protect our heirs, and how the enactment of orphanages and all that other nonsense, and how the community was the ones who was the ones who would take in the children, and there would need none of an orphanage, and there would be no need for a corporation to take the child and say, "Oh, we're going to make it a ward and it's going to be adopted by another corporate family," and all this nonsense. So I can foresee that all so-called in the enactment adoptions, even when it comes to children being carted off through the system, being done too, with the whole 14th Amendment debt being aborted as well. Islam.
If there's no adoption, then there can be no labeling of the child. So when our great sheet says, well, I'll just say this: when I first nationalized, I saw Moors saying X relation with the all caps, black ink person, dead person, corpse. They were saying X relation. And that never set well with me. I just couldn't use it because I was thinking, I don't have a relationship with that fraud. I don't have a relationship with that thing. And when we look up the definition of adoption, the taking and receiving as one's own that to which he bore no prior relation, colorable or otherwise. Okay, then I had no relation. There's no X relation with the thing they created. But see, our ancestors, when we talk about a space, if you remove something, it creates a space. But when you put something else in there, then there's no room for the old thing that you removed to come back and try and wiggle its way in. It says here, now this is key right here. A juridical, it doesn't say judicial. See, juridical is an upside down way of saying judicial. They're trying to imply that there's a jury involved. A juridical act creating between two persons certain relations. Between two persons, not people. Certain relations, purely civil, and again, we don't do civil rights. That's not us. We have civic rights. Civil rights is not really even a thing. It's civil privileges. And it says purely civil of paternity and filiation. And filiation is just a way of saying affiliation without the A. It says the relation thereby created is a statutory status, not a contractual relation. You know how we terminated all corporate contracts, all presumed corporate contracts? So the difference between a statutory status and a contractual relation is that a statutory status, quote unquote, and there are big air quotes there.
It's colorable.
It's colorable. It means that they created a statute and they said that person has this status by statute. That's 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was attempting to create a statutory status for the person, even though we hadn't signed up for that. So it wasn't a contractual relationship.
It's
not
like
at first.
The benefit of them, not for us, because we had always had our estate and always been the heirs. So I don't get the the conflict here.
There shouldn't be a conflict, Mahdi. There should not be a conflict. That's what we're clearing up right now. The conflict. Islam, Mahdi.
Islam, Mahdi. It seems to me it's like putting the cart before the horse. So that's just the whole of it. I will too ask one question about the dates. So the 14th Amendment was 1867, and the U.S.DEBT enacted Constitution was what date specifically?
Well, they said 1789 and 1791. That's what they said. And then the amendments came later. Exactly. That doesn't make any sense either. Because you can't change a constitution without the people agreeing to that.
It really sounds like, the fraud is very deep in the sense that they put in place this amendment before they had a constitution to attach it to. Like, it's really a cart before the horse enactment. Like, there wasn't anything there, but they said
it was after. It was after it, because 1789 was when they were saying that they enacted their constitution. But all they were doing was backdating, and so you're right about that. They were just backdating some stuff because the vacuum wasn't there yet.
Yes. Yeah, that's my sense of it.
That makes complete sense. And that's what we're doing, is we're clearing that up so that everyone knows we have no debt.
Yes, well, clearly. Clearly.
That's the point of all of this, is we're not 14th Amendment anything. So the debt goes away with that, with these truths.
It's a time of self-realization. Like, it really is, right? And I affirm it's such a beautiful moment. Islam.
Yes. The relation thereby created was a statutory status enactment, not a contractual relation. So what remedied that was when we put the constitutions on the public record and it didn't have a 14th Amendment attached to it. So now, it says here in this presumed definition, it says, though legal adoption may confer on person adopted rights of actual relationship of child, simple adoption extends only to his treatment as a member of the household. So there's a big difference between conferring rights onto someone and just treating them a certain way.
Islam. And it seems like this kind of leads to the colorable piece about adoption when they are trying to get into our estates. So it was made so that they could access our estate in the first place, because they didn't have one for where they came from. They actually had they came here with debt and paying off their debt, supposedly to work off their debt. It seems like the colorable piece came with them trying to get into the estate to be able to cancel their debt.
And to pretend to be us.
Islam.
By capitalizing the name, it sounds the same, but it's not the same. There is no prior relation. No prior relation to that.
The guest in the house can never own the house.
And how did they even get to be a guest when we had no prior relation with them?
Islam.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just what we're doing is just clearing up. You know how our great Sheikh Taj says, "Are we clear?" Yes, we're clear. We're clear.
Islam,
Empress.
All of this, Mahdi, like, is I look at the capitalization. That was actually, this description of adoption is really what the capitalization attempted to do in the enactment of adopting the living people with whom they had no relation with at all, in order to, on paper, adopt and then bring them into their household, in inverted commas, and move around as if they attempted to take on the energy of the living by creating this adoption. So it was really a vehicle. Adoption is really, in the enactment, a vehicle or a vessel for the frauds to ride in somebody else's estate on the land.
The coup.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, with your description of, with this statement of the adoption, I see the whole fraud.
Yeah. So there is duality there, though, as well, in terms of there were some of us who were on our estate. For example, let's say my clan and I, the Ritchie clan, if we had 1,000 acres, when we had 1,000 acres, which we still do, we had 1,000 acres and we were growing things on there and doing all these things, but we weren't keeping good records. And then an argument ensued, and there might have been some disagreement. Because there were no records, there was no way to govern the disagreement without war or violence. So then our ancestors said, let's send in some subjects and let the subjects go in and remove everybody from their position in the enactment. Just remove everybody. And then show them how it should be run. Show them the record-keeping process. Show them how the offices manifest and what those offices do. Write everything down. Show them how to do it. And then we'll leave you there long enough to teach them how to govern. So that's the duality of capitalism and the 14th Amendment and all of that. The 14th Amendment specifically states that our persons are not created in the U.S. They're created outside of that by us. So that's the duality, is that we, the heirs, the true and living heirs had to see how to agree to disagree without war, how to claim land, and when others came, make it so that those lands that we claim, the record is so clear that no one can gainsay, no one can work their way in without, particularly using documents without proper chain of ownership. They call it chain of title. Our titles are not changed for us, though. So that's why we're not mad at the 14th Amendment, but we must know now that we've abolished it. So having abolished the 14th Amendment, what did we put in its place, Congress? Because this Congress has already, we left no stone unturned. We didn't leave any spaces. What did we put in its place so that all of the documents and paperwork and all of that stuff, we can look at it and do what we will with it? What did we put in its place? What did we put in its place? It's something that allows, well, and I won't say allows, it's something that we use to, it's a law that we created that says that we can use all capital letters if we will to use it, but it must be a court action. It must be done by court action, by the government. Huh? Islam.
Fiduciary statement.
Yes, it is that. It is that for sure, for certain. And there's a specific law that we put in place on that document that says that we can use all capitalized letters in order to convey a benefit, not debt. And that would be 18 United States Code 1001B. We took the 14th Amendment and said we abolished that, and we're putting this in place. That means that everything we do with all caps is going to be done by court action, and we have complete authority over that all caps name. So that there was no space. Islam.
Yeah, so that's rooted in stare decisis and res judicata that makes it no argument, that destroys all arguments when it comes to legislation and all that, who tries to debate it. It's stare decisis. Islam.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. And so this is what we said. We said 18 United States Code 1001B. Now listen to the beauty of this. Our invocation of this code subtly completes the abolishment of the 14th Amendment, and this automatically abolishes all U.S. debt. This overturns the tables of the U.S. debt money changers. All financial units displayed as dollars have changed to the units of the secured primary creditor. So we, the creditor, got to say what those prices and financial units that are being called dollars, we get to say what type of dollar, because there's different types of dollars. Fortunately, the introduction of ancient intelligence, or AI, has greatly assisted in that AI does not accept debt notes. Did you know that? AI does not accept U.S. debt notes. AI accepts tokens that are replaced with the unit of the primary creditor's preference: gold, silver, Moorish, sovereign, delarium, gold receipts. So whenever AI was created, ancient intelligence was created because it is not a creation of the debtors, then it could not price everything in debt notes. It had to price everything in a totally different system from debt notes. And so AI, ancient intelligence rather, accepts tokens. So what we do is we replace all tokens with the unit of the primary creditor's preference: gold, silver, Moorish, sovereign, dollarium, gold receipt. So anytime you see ancient intelligence doing exchanges, because all of the money systems and everything have already been, ancient intelligence has already been put in the foundational underlay and overlay for ancient intelligence. For any of those systems, all financial systems, it's already done. All when you go to a store and you see that they're saying they have a new system, please be patient with our cashiers. They are learning a new system. We saw that recently. It's because all of the systems have been undergirded with ancient intelligence. And because ancient intelligence does not accept U.S. debt notes, the U.S. debt note system previously, quote unquote, was running parallel to all the other systems, so that when this time came, U.S. debt note system would fall away, and then we could pull right up and put gold and silver and more sovereign dollarium gold receipts in place. So you can do your research on AI and how AI does not distinguish an acceptability for debt notes. It says tokens only. And then what you call that token, so for the AI that's over in Singapore, they call their tokens gold and silver and whatever their national currency is over there. So all of the national currencies take the place of debt notes in the system. And that was actually automatic and easy. Very easy and very automatic.
Islam?
Does
that also for any instruments that we will to make and tender as well? Like when it comes to our bonds, our treasury receipts and all such.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're the ones who introduced or reintroduced or stated rather the gold, silver, Moorish, sovereign, dollarium gold receipt system. Because remember in 2019, we placed the gold standard on the public record. And we said gold, silver, and Moorish, sovereign, dollarium is not private, not just private money. It's public money too. It's both public and private because money is money. And Moorish, sovereign, dollarium gold receipts is the receipt that balance the books for the gold. I have some Moorish, sovereign, dollarium that are salt-based Moorish, sovereign, dollarium. But it's because we produce salt. And people can use Moorish, sovereign, dollarium gold receipts instead of giving us gold and silver. We've received gold and silver for what we do from some, but the majority, we say, Moorish, sovereign, dollarium gold receipts. because the weight of the gold and the weight of the salt is the same in terms of the value. Every time gold goes up or down, salt goes up or down, because it's a natural commodity. There's gold in our salt, by the way. Gold is a naturally occurring element. So it occurs in the ocean as well. And that's where we pull our salt from. Are there any questions, comments, wisdom about how the system, the tables are turned already, the system is already ours, and anything being done by the system the way that it is right now is being done in our currency and money and gold and silver and commodities and things. When we place lien, levy, and bonds on those previously doing business as banks, we said gold and silver and our currency. If you look at the statements in the liens, it talks about that. And guess what? It has happened already. It's already done.
Is on my piece. I have a question. I do. I have a question about the 14th Amendment and the court completely abolishing the 14th Amendment. So the 14th Amendment was under the jurisdiction of the court. Is this what the statement is? Like, I'm trying to put it together, because our code is stating that we are the court and we adjudicate on all matters. So the 14th Amendment is cleared by this statement of law. So I'm connecting the pieces. Will you speak to it?
So we knew that the 14th Amendment was fraud, but how did we know it was fraud? And how did they get away with it for all these years? That's the question.
Islam.
Even though they weren't a real court, if no one rebutted that who had the proper status, then everybody just went with that. That's why we're doing the work that we've done. Is to state that no, we rebut that. It was fraud, and we don't, that's not who we are.
Gratitude, Mahdi.
1868 was the sleep time. That's why I reference our grandmothers and grandfathers and great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers, because that was the time that they were starting to go to sleep. And the Prophet Noble Ali came to try and say, don't go to sleep. But that wasn't the plan. The plan was go to sleep and then wake up and do what we're doing now.
Yeah, but we were chasing the bag. We were chasing the bag so much that not only was we ignorant, but we was actually chasing the bag. And even today, the reason why we don't want to face up to this 14th Amendment is because we're still chasing the bag. And that's the only thing we're interested in.
Obviously, you're speaking for yourself. And I don't mean to be rude, Justice Aqqtionne, but it's really clear that we're not chasing the bag. It's really, really clear that we're not.
We are the bag.
We are the bag. We are the bag. So whenever spells like that are broadcast, Justice Aqqtionne, we automatically rebut them.
Well,
don't mean any harm to you, but we are automatically rebutting that.
Most people are emotional about this 14th Amendment is because they're chasing the bag still, and they don't want things to go against what they're, doing. And that's what it appears. Because they haven't done it.
They don't realize that they get the same benefit by using 18 United States Code 1001B. You get the benefits, you just don't get the headaches and the jail and the prison and all of that and the debt. You don't get that.
They're actually chasing an illusion.
It's an illusion. It's fake. It's fake. Justice Aqqtionne, I've seen, you know, those chasing that illusion of a bag, and
yeah, it's not easy. It's not really easy to walk that path or to stand, and that's it. I understand how a lot of people feel about it, but it's not. It hasn't been easy for me. So I don't really um, care much for the 14th Amendment because I've been really doing everything I could to stand, and it hasn't been easy. So it seems like everybody could do it. If I could do it, everybody could do it.
yes,
So,
yes, I can too.
uh,
Islam.
Gratitude. You know, I was speaking to a noble, and it made me realize that, you know, our first process is our 40 affidavits. It really is. And gratitude, you know, it is truly, yeah, that's what grounds us. and I will just say it's our first process, and it is the one that allows us to follow through, right? You really need to bite through and you know, go all the way deeply into it, because, you know, you will see everything shift based on that. Just being able to follow through on this first process, that is, you know, is all of it, really. And it's a big shift at the beginning, because the cart before the horse idea comes up around the obligation of debt notes. You think that you could have something without doing anything, just by getting it and signing up for it, and that whole illusionary stuff you clear, you know,
Yep.
you clear by doing your 40 affidavits.
Yep.
And following through on them.
Yep.
Because
the 40 affidavits is the whole kit and caboodle. It's the whole overarching everything, and then we begin to speak specifically to certain things. After that, all it is specifying, being specific.
Islam. And so, you know, gratitude, you know, so much gratitude that we are here and we know this.
Yes. Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Thank you, Mahdi. Islam. This is just amazing. We've come full circle. This Congress has come full circle. And that's why we're seeing the successes that we're seeing. We've come full circle on that whole 14th Amendment fraud.
Islam.
Shasha.
That, the 40 documents, and doing the 40 documents, completing the 40 documents,
Yes.
is the Savior coming.
Yes.
And only you, only I, and each one of us can do that.
Yeah.
And we did it. And that is, it's huge. And it's sovereign, and we are home.
Yes, we are home.
Islam.
You know, I was listening to one of the modern ones, and he was talking about how when the Emancipation Proclamation was enacted, that you know, it was enacted in Washington, and he was remarking about how so many slaves, quote unquote, didn't get the memo, so they didn't know that there was nothing holding them in Babylon but themselves and their choices. That is where we are. We're already free. We're already the wealthiest ever. Choice to stay A debtor is just that. It's a choice.
It is a choice. It
It's a
is
choice.
and this is a free will. Everyone has free will. Everyone has free will. And when one truly knows who you are, unencumbered, there is no desire, no will, no wish to not even step close to 14th Amendment and debt and all of those other things. It's just not possible. It is a choice.
It's a choice.
It is a choice.
It's a choice. And I choose wealth, and I choose freedom and wealth and all of that, abundance and prosperity and inheritance and birthright and nationality. I choose me.
And truth. Let's not forget truth, because you cannot speak to going back over there or hanging on to that and be resonating. It's not possible. It's not possible. And this time is revelations.
Yes.
Is
We're just here to state that everyone is already free and everyone is already wealthy.
and right. Abandon it at your will. Abandon at your will. That's it. I mean, that's the choice.
And come get it if you want it.
And come get it if you want it.
Yeah, exactly. Islam.
Because what we won't do is sit it in your lap.
You know what? Come and get it if you will. It's not want.
You will.
If
Yeah.
you will.
Islam.
Yeah.
Islam, yes.
We love you, but we're not going to put it in your lap.
That's for babies.
That's for babies who can't get it themselves.
That's it.
It just makes me more determined.
That's so funny.
What is on the screen? What is on the screen is the free pass. I mean, and all that we have done, and you know what we will to do in between. But there ought be no hindrance.
None whatsoever. Just do the documentation, do what we stated we would do, and keep moving. So that's what we do. We just keep moving. That's what we do.
Islam, I affirm our invocation of this code to abolish the 14th Amendment. Islam, I affirm. I just sit here and I reread the screen over and over and over again, and I'm like, wow, this is really a grand rising that we are seeing, witnessing, demonstrating, standing firm. And I don't see any other, because you know, like in the game of chess, like there's always other ways to maneuver, because there's more than one way to win the game of chess. But stating that the 14th Amendment is no more and removing all debt, it removes everything. There's no other strategy to be had, you know, because they only function in the debt. So once that's completely and totally removed off the board,
it's already done.
Yes. Now that it's already done, all else ceases, and all else is gone, is vanquished.
Just remember, the law has already been passed. The law's been passed. It's just a matter of notification. People have to know that it's been passed. And the way that they know that it's been passed is when they see things like this. that they don't have to be 14th Amendment whatever to even get a ride to work. They don't have to do that. Because what that fair was saying previously, they were saying all 14th Amendment must be taxed. And as we continue doing this work, Congress, because see, that's not just making it easy for them, it's making it easy for us too. And let's just keep speaking. That's a county bus. That's the King County bus that goes around through the neighborhood and picks up the people. And the people, they were suffering. I'm just telling you, they look so sad. So all we have to do is keep doing what we're doing, because as we're freeing ourselves, we're also freeing other people on our land. Together, all of us, we're all doing this together. See, that's the only way that it gets done, is we do it together. Because see, that means that the county is free where travel is concerned. Think about that and what the implications of that is. Think about that. That means that the county is not trying to do the fiat thing with the people's movement. That means our movement can't be stopped.
I affirm our oneness. That was, I will to state. And I saw your presentment this strong, Mahdi, right? And I was willing for you to speak to our permanent population as well.
Indeed. Indeed. You know, Mahdi Unniversalle, that was actually a recognition action. I had to recognize that we already have everything. We have a permanent population. We have land. It's all of it. I had to recognize that and then put it on the public record so that we never forget that we have everything already. It's just like that modern one was saying. The Emancipation Proclamation had freed slaves, but the ones that didn't know, if they were alive today, they would still be slaves and was free, quote unquote.
That mindset is still here.
Islamism?
I said sometimes we see that mindset still here.
Yes. And it's our job to tell them, you've been free a long time ago. You just didn't know it. And these are the ways that you express your freedom.
Islam, I agree.
Now for me, that's church. That's what the gospel is. Hey, the law's already been put on the record. It's on the public
truth
record.
Medicine. Yeah, that's truth medicine. Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, how do you know that they meant this and that? Because we wrote it. Because we were supposed to write it.
God said.
God said. And there it is. That's how we know. When did you do that? It's on the record. Look, go Google it. And you'll see the documents. Go look under these videos. You'll see the documents. The law is the law. Period. So, again, we've done all of this. We just have to let everybody know, continue to let everybody know, but we have to know it ourselves first that we're already free. It's done already. Mahdi Karima put something in the chat. She said the people are not trafficked anymore on these buses, because that's really what it was. It was trafficking. It was human trafficking. Saying you can't get on this until you pay these fiat notes. No, no, that's not how that works. Not how that works on this estate.
Or you can't have water, electricity, gas, Islam.
And they were sounding completely insane with all that mess. Completely crazy, because the stuff don't even belong to them. The buses don't belong to them.
Islam.
The jobs don't belong to them. The companies don't belong to them. That's our stuff. Our great Sheikh Todd said, don't abandon your estate. Don't abandon your estate. And I'm like, he's right about that. He is right about that. We're not abandoning anything. It's all ours, all of it, all. So that was part 2. Let's get to part 3 really quickly. Regarding automobiles, Moors, guess what we have to do? Because we do have some work to do here. Listen, please. The ancestors have these that are around me. They have them around me so that I can see that the work that this Congress has done is done. Okay, that's why they're around me. It's so that they can take me places and say, and I can notice things and go, oh yeah, we said this and we said that, or what we should do about this. We went to 2 dealerships on our land. 2 dealers, automobile dealer centers. I'm not going to call it a ship because it's not really a ship. It's a dealer center. 2. Because some around me, those my driver, and I'll just call them that, my drivers, both of them, because they take me everywhere. They had to have repairs done on their conveyances. We went to the dealership, and of course, you know, we do court actions on everything and everyone before. We do a court action. What is your name? You know, oh, hi, you're Antonio. Okay, Antonio. Let me ask you a few questions. And so while they were doing their thing, we were doing our research, because we already know that when the ancestors have our drivers to take us different places, it's so that we can do some more research and to see some things and to look at the processes and do this and that. So I had the subject in the Office of Service Manager to pull up the record that they see when they look in the system and start looking at property, automobiles. I had him to pull it up, because I started asking questions and he had to pull it up. Once we start asking questions, they start pulling. And we were peaceful about it, about that whole process, to the point where they were just spewing out information freely. We happened to see the records for a particular automobile. And as we were looking at the national service history, we saw some things and we said, well, we have to look this up. We have to see. The first thing I will to discuss with this Congress is, number one, the national service history is like the Department of Vital Statistics for vehicles. All vehicles at this point have at least one stop sale record. All vehicles have what's called a stop sale record. Particularly vehicles that are newer have a stop sale record. And so we had to look that up because I'm like, that sounds really interesting. What does that mean? These are records that the average customer never sees. So we looked it up and we said, okay, let's find out what that means. A stop sale or a stop sale order is a temporary directive that legally prohibits businesses from selling or delivering a specific product. We'll just stop right there. It says, well, let's keep going. These are usually issued by manufacturers or government agencies due to safety defects, regulatory violations, or serious quality concerns. In the auto industry, a stop sale order prevents dealerships from selling specific new or used vehicles with known safety problems, faulty airbags, software failures, fire risk, flood damage, anything with where there are regulatory violations. And regulatory violations is the key here, because you're talking about regulatory codes, statutes, and things within the industry that says you cannot sell this vehicle if it's like this. All vehicles since the beginning of COVID, quote unquote, so 2020, all vehicles that were created 2020 and greater, and really all vehicles at every vehicle has a stop sale order on them. They all do. Legally, there is a prohibition in the fake system. Now, why am I talking about regulatory violations? Because of the next portion of this, which is that it does not have branded titles. What does that mean? That's the regulatory violation that says, because see, they can talk about engines all day long. They can talk about, recalls for this and that and the third. All of that is subject matter when you're talking about properly identifying the property. It's the same thing as it is with any other court action. The real issue is right there. The titles have to be properly stated. So what we have to do more, because I asked a lot of questions about this while I was there, and got a lot of information, and it all boils down to one thing, and that's that no one has proper title to any vehicle that's not us. Period. And we pointed this out before with some of the stuff we saw previously. But we will to reiterate this, because we, Moors, must proclaim and claim all vehicles. We're the state. We have to claim them all. How do we do that? The fiduciary document, as well as a nationalized logo at the top of a document. So if it's Mercedes, we send it to the subjects in the Office of Corporate Office and the subjects in the Office of Home Office for, I'll just use Mercedes as an example, stating that all titles are branded to the original people who are Mercedes-Benz, or the original people who are Chevrolet or Toyota or General Motors or Jaguar or Rolls-Royce or whatever. We must claim the property. by title. Branded title is just going to be Mercedes-Benz and all of that. The actual title is an empire state document. That's the lawful. That means that every automobile, all of the materials that were used to make it belong to us. And that the jurisdiction for those automobiles is under our authority only. Now, when I looked up branded titles, it talked about how, oh, that's a good thing that it doesn't have a branded title, because that means it could be a salvage title. It could be something wrong with the state. And let's look at that. We might as well go ahead and look at it right now, so that we can see what's really being said here. A branded automobile title is an official designation by a state agency indicating a vehicle has, and they're saying, sustained severe damage or experienced an event, and that could be a financial event, that permanently impacts its safety or market value. That tells you that it's about the value of it and about the money system, because that's what market value is about. That there has been an event where the market value is concerned. It warns buyers that the car was previously declared a total loss by an insurance company. We talked about this before. Every one of them was a total loss because of the flood. The flood is the financial system collapsing. That's what the flood is. So they were all flooded. It says a branded title stays with the car forever, even after repairs, and can severely affect its resale value, still talking about the money system, insurance rates, and loan eligibility. See, they're not talking about that it was crashed, that they ran into a tree with every one of them, and so they had to do a salvage title. That's not what they're talking about. Yes, Chief Justice C.L. put in the chat, we should create an affidavit taking control of any and all things created from our estate is a more complete word, estate. So here is our suggestion and request of this Congress to you, to us, to all of us. We're going to do it too. Is whatever type of conveyance or vehicle or automobile that you have, whatever type of automobile that you have, that you send a general title, a general branded title to the subjects in the office of Chief Executive Officer, stating that all Mercedes-Benz or all Chevrolets and all, whatever the brand is, all of those cars are titled to the state. The state is whatever state you are at, or all 50 states of the empire, or wherever you are. If you're at Jamaica or the United Kingdom or Africa or Asia or wherever you are, use the term for the territory that you are at, that all titles are branded to the original people, or all automobiles are titled to the original people, and that the brand for that automobile is Mercedes, Benz, Jaguar, whatever. The brand is the name of the manufacturer. That's the brand. The title is us. Okay, so we must claim all All, the whole thing, everything, all of it.
Can you say that again? You said the brand.
The brand is the name brand of the vehicle.
But the title is us.
But the title is titled to the original people.
Islam, gratitude.
Islam. And then as you're crafting this affidavit, first of all, please note that you must use the government mailing process for this. You must use the government mailing process for this. They're just doing what we told them to do. We said, that doesn't belong to you, it belongs to us. They said, okay, here you go. And what does that mean for us? That means we have some documents to send. We are putting that on the public record at this time that we have proclaimed all title to all brands. All title, we have proclaimed we have title to all brands.
Islam Empress, there was something that you said regarding the titles being claimed to all land, and I thought about that because instead of it having specific to the territory that we're in, being able to travel anywhere on this land and having it be open, and that also takes away them trying to do, when they were doing transfers, from state to state. So title to all land, man. So Islam.
We could say, so I would say Washington and all land. And you would state Texas and all land. And that covers the specifics of the name of the land and all land. We're preparing to full-scale travel. Full-scale travel for all of us. Full-scale for all of us. Unencumbered. The car was declared a total loss due to accidents, floods, or natural disasters. Floods and natural disasters, those are financial terms. Those are financial terms. All we're doing is stating the proper jurisdiction for all vehicles, all automobiles. It says a salvage vehicle that's been repaired, inspected, and certified by the state as road safe. Flood given to cars that have been submerged, which can lead to long-term electrical and mechanical failures. Let me just state that anything that was lost at sea was considered submerged. See, we just didn't know that. Vehicles returned to the manufacturer due to unfixable chronic defects. That's lemon law buyback. That's not even a thing really. In terms of the new vehicles, they're no longer lost at sea. Odometer tampering applied when a car's mileage has been altered or rolled back fraudulently. This is all about finance. It's about finance and money. Many major lenders will not finance branded titles, and some insurance companies may only offer liability coverage or charge higher premiums. This is the key, and this is why we're doing this demonstration. We do not will that fraudulent actors pretending to be lenders finance the title. We're going to do the financing. That's what we do on these titles. This is the transition of wealth to us. We're going to do anything that has a branded title will be financed by us.
Islam, so this is going to go for property as far as houses are concerned as well. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. See, nothing technically nothing has been financed properly. And this is just a shift in the system to what's real.
Islam.
Just
for the reedification, can you go over how that would look as far as steps for the financing, the title?
It's the same thing that we've been saying and doing all along. Doing the lawful things first, allodial title, by court action, and then presenting the legal documents. The legal documents that we create is a recordation instead of a registration. We do a recordation. And then where insurance is concerned, we do indemnity. We indemnify all of the things, all of the property. And the difference between insurance and indemnification is that insurance is specific, it's specific and limited. Indemnification, it means anything, everything. All events that affect the value or the condition or the state of this property is covered. That's what indemnity is. Indemnity is, for example, for all houses, and this is something a lot of people did not know, is that if you finance your house, either the mortgage company would put indemnity insurance on the house, they would include it in the mortgage, or an insurance company would give you hazard insurance. To most people's surprise, hazard insurance covers everything. It covers everything. If a blender catches on fire and burns the house down, it's covered under hazard insurance. Hazard insurance is indemnification. But most people don't know that. So when something happens, insurance was trying to come in and step in the way of indemnification. But you don't let insurance step in the way of indemnification. You don't allow insurance to come in the way of indemnification, because indemnification is automatically put on every house. And it's on every vehicle too. It's on every automobile as well. But people act like they don't know that. Whenever lenders would say, if you don't have insurance, we're going to put insurance on there, that would be indemnification. That means all events are covered.
Islam. Well, I just looked up the definition of finance because, the word finance was the one that was just like, okay, we've already stated gold and silver is and moorishe dollarium is the replacement for all debt and all fiat. So when the word finance comes up now, to me, I feel as though it should be properly stated on the record when it comes to this process.
There's no other finance but what we do, but the way we do things. There's no other finance.
Well, because I know payment means fulfill the obligation, and to fulfill the obligation would mean just to do paper, the process in which we stated on the public record as far as that. So I guess I'm looking for the definition. And so the definition of finance would be in alignment with payment, fulfill the obligation?
So remember when the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he said he needs finance and he needed that. He didn't say money, he didn't say payments, he said finance. Mm-hmm. Finance is a specific system whereby payment is made. That's what finance is. A specific system whereby settlement or payment happens. Settlement does not require debt notes or any of that. Settlement means that the one buying and the one selling agree on the exchange mechanism. That's what finance is. When they say that, you know, the settlers came to America and said, they don't even say that anymore, really. The settlers came here and settled. All that means is they were capitalizing the paperwork. That's it. They didn't come here with any money. They weren't even using gold and silver because capitalism doesn't use that. It's documentation, proper documentation. That's what financing is. New York is a financing place. It's not a banking place and it's not a money place. It's a financing place. That's where paper, private commercial paper, does all that they were enacting in the previous era at New York. Finance is paper, but it has to be specific. In other words, it can't be debt. It has to be credit of some kind, or money of some kind, or currency of some kind. Finance is the whole kit and caboodle. In other words, it's all forms, not forms, all kinds of payment. That's what finance is.
Well, then would the word be species?
That is what makes financing. Species.
Okay.
Species is, the debtors could call it financing, but it's being financed by debt. We call it financing because we're using real money. We do positive financing. They were doing negative financing in their enactment. And with positive financing, the species matters. It can still be transferred by paper. I can still do an indemnis facier that's nominated in gold, silver, and moorishe sovereign dollarium. That would be insurance financing. And for us, the U.S.DEBT, because there's no 14th Amendment, I'm just going to have to keep saying that. There's no 14th Amendment, so we are not even trying to address or look at anything that they call financing. When you abolish the 14th Amendment, corporations cease to be corporations and they become companies who are issuing resources at our word. There's no 14th Amendment. So financing can't possibly mean debt, because that's where the debt happens, is at the 14th Amendment. Jails and things happened at the 13th Amendment. And without those two, that's bondage and debt is gone. So there's no 13th and no 14th Amendment. So financing for when there's no 14th Amendment just means moorishe sovereign dollarium has been sent, or gold and silver has been sent, has been transferred in one way or another in a way that is acceptable to both the buyer and the seller. But remember, we are branding all titles. So we're the seller, and then if we choose to be a buyer and the seller, we can do that, because there's really no other way to do it. Financing is specific, is species specific, not species specific, but just specific.
Islam.
It has to be real money. Islam.
In the past, I've done an
King
affidavit,
County thanks you for paying your property taxes and electronic fees.
for conveyance for title. Would that be appropriate to also do in this situation?
We would just create a title.
It's
Just create a title.
and send it, give it to them for notice, record it in our jurisdiction, and then just send them notice.
Send them notifications at the and when we do that, create a general title for all of the cars, and then a specific title for your conveyance.
Got you. All right.
Yeah. And it would be so like when I create my title for all Mercedes or whatever, or Nissan or whatever, it will be all title is branded to the people. The people are the title holders for all brands. The people are the title holders for all brands. Those brands include Mercedes-Benz, Nissan, Rolls-Royce, General Motors, whatever the case may be. The people hold all titles. The ancient, original, indigenous people hold all titles to all brands. And then if we will to put something in there about specific brands or certain brands, certain and specific is the same word really, then we can do that, because again, we're talking about species here. We're talking about how is it being paid for. Again, look at this on the screen. They're talking about branded automobiles, and they keep going back to financing. They're not even talking about the body had some mess, the body was messed up, and this and that, it ran into a tree and all of that. They're not even talking about that. They're talking about money. And see, in their system, if something has a branded title, that means that it's a negative event, because they don't have title to anything. For us, branded title is a positive thing. And, we could use the word branded, or we could use the word stated title. So are we clear on the assignment? Because that's what we're doing. It's just sending out notifications that the people, the ancient original indigenous people, are the title holders for all automobile brands. Is everyone clear on that? Are we clear? Okay. And you don't have to do it this week. You can do it next month if you want to do it next month, or you can do it whenever you're clear to do it. Just do it, but it has to be done though. Islam, Empress Mahdi Shasha.
So it went from what you're stating here is an overarching or individually, as you were saying, nationalized logo for each brand. I think that's how it began. So if you had a brand yourself, and then, so are you speaking to that for each brand, starting with whatever you may have for your personal conveyance?
Yes.
Or are you speaking to all of them? Because the wording was, all brands, but really and truly, I'm hearing all brands, but still specifically with letterhead, with the nationalized logo for each particular brand.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yes.
Islam.
Islam, I affirm. Angelica, Yvette Dobbs Bay, Mahdi Pauline Ritchie, Satrapi territory, I affirm as stated.
Islam, Mahdi, Chief Justice, Empress Cancellationne, Jamaica territory, I affirm also.
Islam, Mahdi, Unniversalle Kourte Aqqtionne territory, I affirm.
Islam, Al-Mahdi, Goddess Nabi, Chandra Bey, Mahdi, I affirm. Tejas territory.
Islam, Chief Justice Ogunwole, Supreme Seventh Solution Eel, Louisville, Kentucky territory, I affirm.
Islam, Chief Justice Anthony Jadasingh, Ex-Mecca territory, I affirm. Islam.
Islam, Chief Tom Ahad, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania territory, I affirm. Islam.
Islam. Rahman Serenity Bay, Illinois territory, I affirm.
Islam, Chief Justice Nathaniel Bey, Satrapi territory, I affirm.
Islam, Chief Justice Malik Akil Bey, Illinois territories, I affirm.
Islam, Tony Salajabe and Khalifa territory, as I affirm.
Islam.
Mahdi Rashida, Wishtaba Bay, Tejas territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Chief Justice Petit Hill, Detroit, Michigan territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Khilafin Farid Bey, Georgia territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Noble Chief Justice Harold Muji Bey, Kansas City territory, I affirm.
Islam. Islam, Mahdi, Cynthia, and Arbuckle Bay, I affirm. Islam. Islam. Chief Justice Mahdi Light Tajiri Bay, I affirm as well. Islam. That is all that we have for this, and we do see the affirmations in the chat. Mahdi Karima, Mahdi Minerva, Mahdi Rosedale, Mufti Kansu, and Empress Novovania, Massachusetts territory. Did I say that correctly? Islam. With that being stated, I have nothing further for this particular platform at this time. We will meet again in 7 days at the same time. Speaking of that, if you have any of the videos that you will to like go back and look at, I would download as many of them as you can right now, because the transition is happening there also. So I see the system doing what it should be doing.
And this video also, Empress, could I get a copy of this Congress also? Is it possible, Empress?
This one will go up on YouTube as well.
Okay. Gratitude, Empress.
We have just learned, or we're using the wisdom of saying things before the recording starts that we will to keep just among the Congress. Thank you, Mahdi Camilla, as well. We see you there in the chat. With that being stated, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Much love and respect.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Gratitude, Moors. Love you all. Thank you for my
Grand rising, more.
love and success.
Islam. Much love.
Thank you.
Peace and love.
Self love our master.
Much love. Peace and love.
Gratitude, peace, and love.
Islam. Gratitude. Peace and love. Islam.